to the bra course for the Coma Wireless Bra. Hi, I am Nikki Griffin, a friend of Lily Pod Designs and a lover of these bra patterns, especially when they're wireless. This is the standard Coma that we'll be making. It is a full stretch fabric, light lace fabric that is fully lined. You'll really enjoy this one. It has a full back. And here is the long line, my personal favorite. Isn't it lovely? This is a scuba moderate stretch. It's got the closures in 3 different spots and a full back that just really contours here. And the adjustables are in the back. All right, get ready. Read your pattern 3 times. 3 times. Okay, enjoy the video and we'll see you soon when you're posting your lovely Coma Wireless. Let's review the pattern for the Coma Wireless Bra. In this pattern, you'll see 3 different looks. Here is the standard look. Here's the long line. We are making these 2 in this video. And here's the strappy back. Same as the regular bra with the regular back, but you can put straps here to make it more adjustable. So let's take a look. All right, if you want to just get an overview when you're looking at the pattern to determine if it's for you, it goes from a 28 to a 46 rib cage. Band, that's the band, and the bottom cup depth. These are all measurements that you're going to take to determine what size that you're going to cut. Contents, here's the standard, the strappy back, long line. Here's the back view, the long line back, the hook and eye in the front, and the standard back. There's all the contents. Now, some of the pieces of this bra will take boning for the areas that you'll need more support, especially on the larger size end. So this is a simple chart just showing you for the bra side, how many inches of boning you'll need, the long line cradle, which is standard across the long line, regardless of the size, and then the long line side, which we will see in the video because that's what I've done. The fabric and notions, we are using a stretch lace for one bra, and we're using a moderate stretch scuba for another bra. And we're making the regular bra, the standard, and we're making the long line. Recommended fabric details, the bra band back. For the back, I'm using Power Net. It's lined with Power Net for the regular bra. And you'll see all of this. The scuba won't be lined. We have elastics and front closure clasps. We're using G hooks. Your stretch percentage, this is recommended just so you'll know how much stretch you'll have in your fabric choice. Now, if you have not made a bra from Lily Pod Designs, here is a just instructions on how to take your measurements. One reason I particularly love making these bras is because Lily has shown you how to not only measure your full bust and your under bust, but let's measure the actual breast itself. I will get about 10 calls a day on an email or a post or a DM. Like, what if I have 2 different size breasts? So yeah, here's that. Okay. And just right here, I want to just make a note. Check out the beginner's guide for additional info on breast root trace, fitting bands, omega adjustments, and a glossary of terms. You've got so many resources here for taking your measurements. All right, find your size. Here's a size chart here that you're going to determine what size you're going to cut. The bottom cup depth, put the number here. The horizontal hemisphere, this determines your cup volume, put it here on the B line. The band, the back wing size group should match cradle size, then the band size, and put it here. And these are the measurements that you will use to determine, use these charts to determine what your size is. All right, so I'll show you, mine is right here. This is the size that you'll see me Let me highlight that. This is the size that you will see me cut out. I have made some Lily Pond Design bras before, so it's pretty much the same for me. Okay. Then the cutting layout, the wireless bra, the standard and the wireless long line have some differences because you want the fabrics to behave like they're supposed to on your body. So we are using a full stretch lace for one bra, and we're using a moderate stretch scuba for the long line bra. The bra sewing instructions, they get started here. We're starting with the cup. And we are doing a lining. We're going to do the back band, and we will be following the instructions on the video. And just make a note of what you're looking for and any questions you may have. The straps, the center front, we are using G hooks. And there's a couple of options I've taken just because I wanted to increase the quality and make a note of how to add quality areas into your bra construction. I've put interfacing on a couple of areas, particularly on the long line version. I've used stay tape, and you'll see that in here. So that was the standard bra. And then here are the long line instructions, and we'll be following these instructions as well. So you know what I'm going to say now. Read your pattern 3 times. Nighttime reading, however you get the reading in, read your pattern 3 times. So nothing will be foreign to you when you get started. Okay, here's the strappy back, which we will not be making in this video, but you'll get it. But welcome to the Kona wireless bra. Enjoy. If you have any questions, you can definitely forward them, and we'll try our best to get them answered.
Now, the first thing we're going to do is talk about the order of construction for each bra. This is the plain band bra, the cup pieces, and the band. And here's your elastics, bottom band elastic, underarm elastic. And I'm going to use these clips because I think I got a cute way that I want to use them for each bra. And then here is the second bra that we're going to illustrate, which is the long line version. So here are the cut pieces. You notice they're just a little different, okay? And here are the cut pieces. Here's the long line cradle for the front, and here is the long line back panel. We're going to use the same clips, but we're going to add the boning for the front cradle. And let me remind you, the long line version is, I think, going to be the cutest version to use for swimwear. And for the first version, we're going to put the cups together, and we have it fully lined. This fabric is a full stretch fabric, and it's got 4-way stretch. And we're going to use bra tulle to line it with, because remember, bra tulle has a very moderate stretch, and it kind of complements the stretch of your lace. So we're going to put the pieces together with bra tulle. Don't blink putting this bra together because it's so cute. It's got 3 pieces to put together and put your elastics on, and you're already there. Here's our first cup. And if you are new to lining a stretch bra, a stretch lace bra, I want to stop here and show you how to full lining with no exposed seams. My favorite way to put lining in. So here's that cup. We're going to do the second one. So here's your lower cup and the upper cup. Put them together. And on the other fabric that we do for the long line, I'll show you a cheat way to put the notches together. Okay. All right, I want to put the 2 pieces together. I want to take the under piece lining, that matches the lower cup. I meant the underpiece in your hand. I'm going to attach it. And then we're going to take the upper cup piece, and it's mirrored, right? But we're going to put it underneath. We want main fabric, lining, lining. So when you open it, this piece comes over and it's matching here. Let me show you on the other cup. So we did it. I've already top stitched it and everything, but you'll get the point. Main fabric, lining, lining. And then when you flip your outer lining piece over, you will have an enclosed seam. So you don't have to worry about any raveling. Again, depending on the fabric that you're using, this is just a very nice way to have a professional quality look to your bra and the construction. Okay, so, and it's fiddly, but it's kind of satisfying too. You want to put all 4 pieces together. I use clips because I think pins will disturb your lace, your mesh, bra tulle. So I don't care to use pins when I'm making a bra. But what we're going to do is get this all pinned up and sew it, and the cups will be done. And then we'll go to the band, and I'll tell you what my preference is for the band. And a lot of your bra making can be preference. It really, really can. As long as you're using the right fabrics for the different styles and designs. But everything else, make it your preference. What secrets do you want to have walking around? That's what I call them when you have a really beautiful bra on. It's like, I got a secret that I can't tell anybody. Or you could, but you know. All right, so I've got to get those layers. See how they're, there you go. Okay, let's go to the machine and we'll have 2 completed cups. Now here's a tip. Once you get it pinned and you've got all your layers pinned, open it up and make sure it's what you want. Because all these geometric shapes, they start to look alike. Open it up with the pins or clips, whichever you're using, and make sure it's right before you stitch all the 4 layers down. Because remember, you're stitching stretch lace and tulle. You do not want to pick those stitches out. Ask me how I know. Now that we've got 2 complete cups, let's focus on the back band. For this particular lace that I've selected, I want to use both. I want to use Power Net and my lace. My lace is very, very stretchy. Okay, let's turn it the other way. My lace is very, very stretchy. So I want my Power Net to give me some, you know, just some support where I won't get it with just this lace, even with my bottom band elastic on it. So let's do that. All right, so the cups are going to go right sides together on each side and with a straight stitch. Remember, straight stitches are used for the areas where you do not want stretch. So you don't want stretch here, okay? The bra tulle is going to help, and so will the Power Net. But the other areas where you're going to have stretch, you're going to use your 3-step zigzag. And here's another tip. Let me bring this in a little closer. Here's your back band. I'm just going to fold it up right here. Because we're not going to have closures in the back, we can sandwich the lace and the back band together. Again, this is my design preference. You can do a plain Power Net back band because you are going to have elastics on the bottom and around the top of the back band. So I am going, since I'm using both, I'm going to sandwich them so that I can have an enclosed seam on the side. And again, when you are enclosing your seams and layering fabrics, whether you sandwich in them or doing the main fabric, lining method, pin it, clip it, and turn it over and see if that's what you got. So I've got my main fabric on the outside and the power net on the inside, and there will be no enclosed seams here, and I'm going to put my elastics on to finish it off. Now we're at the point of doing the bottom band elastic and the upper elastic, but I wanted to make a note at this point for the larger sizes, and or if you feel like you need more support out of your fabric, this bra pattern is highly recommended that you use boning right here. It's a large enough space to give you some really nice support right at the side seam. So I'll show you how we're going to use boning on the long line bra. And I'm not going to use boning on this because it's such a delicate fabric. But if I was using a more stable fabric, maybe a scuba knit that has a more moderate stretch and I wanted more support, particularly if I lined it with sheer cup lining, I would definitely use boning right here. Okay, you can get the kind that you cut. It comes in a roll, and you can cut it off and then file it so that it doesn't kind of, tear your piece. We're also used to underwires bugging us. We don't need boning bugging us when we have a wireless bra. But if you don't file it, I take a lighter and just melt it a little and just do that. Okay, and then it kind of rounds out and takes that edge off from being cut. Now, since we're ready to stitch on elastics, I just want to make a few notes about our stitches. We've been using a straight stitch all of this time on our fabrics. We want to use a 3-step zigzag. This one right here, it says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see that? So that's the stitch we're going to use on our elastics. So we're going to put the bottom band on. I'm going to align the bottom band along the bottom, starting at the cup with the picot edges facing up. Whenever you put this elastic on, the plush side gets folded and it's against your body. So we're going to line it up along the bottom of the cup and go all the way across the back band with the picot edges up. And your stitching is going to be right here at the picot edge, because you want, when you turn it, you want it to be just visible enough. I got some threads on here. Go all the way across, and we're going to do the same thing for the upper band elastic. You can leave yourself a little handling room right on the edge. Let's see if I got it right, because there's a slant on the cup. So go past it. Leave yourself a little handling room. I usually do that on elastics. And stitch right at the edge, right next to the picot edges. Because when you turn it, you want them to just peek out. Peek out just a little. And you can line the elastic up with the edge of the bra edge, but don't pull the elastics. I've seen some patterns where it's a design choice to pull the elastic. You want to hold it just taut enough. So here's our first pass on the bottom band elastic. And our next step is to turn it under. See how the picot edges peek out just a little? You've seen this all your life. Just, now you're just seeing it up close. And the curve is still there. It's going to go under on the rib cage. Okay, so now our next step is we're going to stitch the same 3-step zigzag. We're going to stitch straight across on this edge. Now, depending on your fabric, you can turn it over and stitch on top of the elastic, or you can use your seam gauges on your machine to stay straight on that edge. Now that we have the bottom band elastic on, we're going to put elastic here on the neck edge, here, and we're going to put the smaller picot elastic on the underarm across the back up to the other underarm. This is all being handled like one piece, which is so very cool with this bra because you don't have, it's not 89 pieces. So here is the other picot elastic, and my choice, because of this fabric, is such a soft, stretchy lace, I'm going to use just a nice little, it can be panty elastic, but it's just a nice, soft, really stretchy elastic that I'm going to use on my neck edge. I'm going to stitch it and then turn it over to hide it because I don't want any edging on my neck edge. I want the lace to live alone. So here's a little fiddly part that we're going to do, but it's going to be satisfying. Take your strap elastic. If you are using a G-hook, like I am, I'm going to use this one because it just matches and it's really shiny and pretty. So I'm going to use my strap elastic. It's the same sizing that I would need. So it goes right in. And according to the pattern instructions, you'll get a guide exactly how to put these on. Here are 2-inch pieces of strap elastic. And what I want to show you, I've done this already. I've done this side. This is the side where the G-hook is going to hook in. And you want it to be elastic so you can have some give right there. All right, so, and you want to hold it, you want to hook it up. So to install the G-hooks, I'm going to take the 2-inch pieces, shiny side up, and then my center front, same measurement as the other side. You want to gauge it because you do have a center front line seam allowance here, about 3/8 inch. And you want to lay the one G-hook on the bottom, on the outside of the bra. Okay, let's put it right there at the edge. But you want to get it just right enough. And you'll turn this over and kind of look at it. And let's get the second one. You turn them the opposite direction because you're going to stitch them down and flip them over. Okay, right there. All right, cool. And then this is what it'll look like when you're done. Okay. And placement is very key. So what I suggest is use basting stitches first when you're trying to get it lined up. So baste it down and make sure you are where you want to be as far as what the turn looks like and how close you are to your measurement. You want this strap right here at the bottom edge. You want this strap right here at the bottom of the V. So baste your stitches first and play with it and turn it over and make sure it's what you want. All right, and the second tip is, and this depends on your fabric also, you can use stay tape, you can use another piece of elastic that you're going to stitch down. I'm using stay tape, no stretch. Remember, I have a very stretchy lace with bra tulle, and I want to give it some stability right here. So I use stay tape on the back of my elastic loops to give it some real strength so it stays put. So we're going to do that on the other side. So, all right, I think we're good. So I use the stay tape. I put the buckles on the hooks, the G-hooks on, facing back. I basted them down, check to make sure they were aligned where I wanted them. Just use your little seam gauge just to measure. And they're right at the bottom of the neckline And I've got threads everywhere. You hate when you think you got all your threads. And then my hooks are going up. And I've got stay tape on the inside. Make it clean and nice. If I were to wash this bra, I want to make sure the quality holds, but it's very clean. You can never get enough of making sure that we're doing this correctly. Thread the slider, making sure your shiny side, your satin side of the strapping is up, and thread enough through. Lower your needle down in the center of the strap, because if you start on either edge, your strap will slide. And you're like, oh man, it's crooked. Yeah, it can do that. So we're gonna make sure you get it. And then thread your ring through. Just put the ring on there. And thread your elastic strap through the slide again on the top. This just creates an adjustable unit that you're going to put on your bra. There you go. This end is going to go on the bra in the front, and this end is going to be tacked down in the back. Time for straps. All right, here's a quick tip. We do have notches on the pattern that shows where your strap should go, but here is a tip. Find the center back. And then come out 3 inches. Come out 3, got my ruler. Come out 3 inches for placement. Do it there. Now, depending on where you like your straps, you could baste in this placement and see if it works for you. But this is kind of like a standard, but you do have notches on your back band piece of the bra where your strap goes. See, strap here, and this is my size. But I like my straps closer in because I have a little slope in my shoulder, and sometimes my straps are not as far in. And even on wired bras, I have to move the front to bring it in a little. But this is always a consistent way that I manage my strap placement. Okay, so these straps are going to go down the bra. All right, make sure you've got the shiny side on the outside, and you're going to place it on both areas of the band. Well, let's just clip this one. And can I tell you how many mistakes I've made on strap placement? Okay, so what we're going to do, remove these pins. There it is. Because now I've got them clipped in. And then test. Make sure you get a good close on it, because this is the next step of putting the ring on the front. Okay, you can clip that together. And you got the adjustables. I usually take them all the way out so I can have maximum room, and then when I try it on. Sometimes even I'll use clips just in the back, or even right here, I'll use clips to make sure that I've got good placement on the length of my straps. Okay. All right, so your stitching is going to be 2 stitches here, one at the top of the elastic and one at the bottom. So 2 stitches here and 2 stitches here. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. One there, one there, one there. Okay. That's what your stitches are going to, straight stitches. No stretching with these points. So straight stitches. Let's do the long line version of the Coma bra. This is my favorite because I will make a long line out of anything. So yeah, this is exciting. It's the same cups, they're longer, and there's a long line cradle in the front. And because it is long line, you have a longer back band. And what I have chosen, this is a scuba fabric. Moderate stretch. And just for the sake of the video, I'm not going to line it because I really want you to see what we're doing on the inside. And this scuba doesn't have to be lined, just depending on how you're constructing it. I have also thought of making this particular pattern with swim. And yes, I'll probably be doing that. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's the back band. It dips in the back. Here's the front. And what I've done is mark the notches. Bra making materials have 3/8 inch and this one has a 5/8 inch bottom seam, but 3/8 inch and 1/4 inches. I try not to snip because you can easily get outside of your 1/4 inch space. So I use a heat erasable marker. And this scuba takes a heat erasable marker very easily, but it also takes a tiny snip too. So you can see that. So I did both just to make sure. So here's the cup. We're going to put the cup together the same way we did the regular one. Okay, let's come over here. I've got the cups, I've got the straps, the underarm elastic, and I'm going to do a white bottom band this time, and silver adjustables. And here are my 2 pieces of boning. So I've put a couple of pieces together. The back band has been put together, the center seam, top stitch there. Pretty. And I put the main pieces of the cups, the two-part cup. And what we're going to do different is we're going to put the the G hooks, not hook and eye. We're going to put the G hooks here and here first. So before we put these 2 pieces together, we're going to do our G hooks the same as we did before. And I've got markings right here, marked both. I'm going to put them right there. They're going to land right there before the bottom 5/8 inch seam allowance. So they'll lay here because the bottom band elastic will be right here, and I've marked here where they'll be there and there. All right, so we're going to repeat that process, and let's just do the elastics on the left side. Here, here, and one here. Okay, I think we're good. Here's a quick last minute tip I noticed. Because scuba has some moderate stretch, I wanted to kind of slow down the stretch on this front cradle, and I put a piece of interfacing right there. So when I fold, and there's my loop for the G hook, There's no stretch. Right there. It's really nice too. And plus I'm going to put the stay tape and the piece of boning there. Just another last minute tip that you can come up with to do anything you want to really increase the quality of your Me-Made bra. And here's how I kind of round out the tips of the boning so it won't you get the point. So round out the corners so it won't poke through. So I fold it over the loops and just kind of clip them down. And I'm going to put the stay tape right here because this will be where we put the boning. Make sure it's secure. So our fabric does what it wants to do, doesn't it? I'll put my lines on there so I'll know where my seam allowances are. And yay! So here's the other unit that we're going to make. Here's the loops on the upper cup. And I've marked, just so I can get some accuracy, I marked where the loops go, and I marked a 3/8 seam allowance. And the measurement is 2 inches long, so they'll be the same. Line them up at the edge. And here's a tip if you missed it before. Start sewing, lower your needle manually in the center of the elastic, because if you start stitching on either edge, it'll shift on you. You got to put the foot down though. And I go back and forth, just staying on that seam allowance, that 3/8 seam allowance. Stays on track. There you go. Let's do the other 4, right? Yeah. This is looking cuter and cuter every step. All right, so we've got the loop units done. And now we want to put elastic on the right at the underbust, because right in between what's long line and what's the actual cups. So here's the next step here. I'm going to take the cradle, the lower cradle, and stitch it to the upper cup. And the seam of the cradle lines up with the center seam of the cup unit. So, and it's stitched just like that. Okay, it's got a 3/8 seam allowance. And our next step to do, we're gonna take I'm gonna do the small picot elastic. And we're gonna stitch just like we normally do. Stitch it right here. Okay, from here to here, 3-step zigzag. Right here. And stop here. Leave some handling room just so you can, fold down. We're going to do that with both units. So this is the step. Here. Stitch the 3/8 seam allowance, and sew the elastic, and when you turn it down, you'll be sewing the elastic its second time right here. So you'll have elastic right underneath the cup, and that'll be it. It's time for the back band. Here's a tip while you're stitching the picot onto this edge. Keep the picot edge right underneath the seam line where you've got the cradle piece, the bottom cradle stitched to the cup. You don't want to create another seam that could potentially affect your fit. right below the seam line. And I'm pulling it taut. I'm not pulling it, but I'm pulling it just taut. And remember, you got a piece of boning there. Here's another quick tip. While we are preparing the back band, we are going to put boning in it too. What I did, I took the cups because we got elastic here and it just wasn't sitting right. So I put it on the boob ham, just pinned it on each edge just to give it some roundness, steamed it a little. I'm going to let it sit there. I already did this one. So I'm going to let it sit there. So if you have a boob ham, if you don't, make you one. But if you have a boob ham, I like to put cups on the boob ham and steam them depending on the fabric. I don't put stretch lace on it. I put scuba, I put silk, any satin, just to give it, you know, make the elastic do what it's supposed to do, make the fabric feel comfortable. So here's that. We're gonna let that sit a little bit. So meanwhile, we're gonna prep the back band and we're gonna stitch it to the side seams of the cups like so, okay? And we're gonna do boning on the sides, on the side seam. So I'm gonna use the actual casing that the boning came in. And you want it from, according to the pattern, you want it about a 1/2 inch down from the top and 3/4 inches down from the bottom, because we'll be putting more elastic here. So you want to stitch that after we put it together. So let's do one side now. And remember, take it from me, make sure you remember that the back band dips down and the very bottom is straight across. Ask me how I know that. Final touches are elastic. I'm going to put picot on the neck edge, picot all around from the underarm to the back, and picot elastic on the bottom, and then straps. We are almost there. All right, so here's my last little tip we're going to do. This is where my straps go. All right, so mark your straps and make sure you keep up with where they are. And what I did was, sometimes we have the adjustables on the front. I don't want them there on this bra. So we are going to put them in the back. Hold on, okay. All right, so here are my straps. And what I'm going to do is get my piece right there. I'm going to make it about that long, adjustable. Okay. I typically don't have a big need for adjusting. So I'm going to do that. Get 2 strips. Sometimes I like adjustments in the back. I do like to be able to have the flexibility, but usually I don't have that much. So we're going to come here. So what we're going to do is put the slide on this piece, and the ring will be here, and then we'll just slide this through and we can adjust it to fit, and that'll be our last step. Yeah, we'll stitch that, put the ring in. I'm not sewing it right now, I'm just going to show you how we're going to do it. Come on, these things are fiddly. Okay. So it'll be there. Okay, and then we'll put this inside. And I want to actually stitch this down, but when I put this on, I'm just going to raise it up here for fitting purposes. And then once I get it exact where I want it, I'll cut it off and stitch it right there. So you've got the adjustable in the back. Watch.